Welcome to Sumita Roy's English classroom. Earlier, we've already had a video on the beginner's vocabulary, which was a word game, where you learned two difficult words and some very simple ones. Today we shall do a few more words. The exercise is where words are given with their meaning, but they are jumbled. You have to find the right meaning for the right word. Now, the word and the meaning may be exactly the same in certain situations. In a particular context, they might be exactly the same. In other contexts, they might be different, where you cannot replace one word with the other. So you have to keep trying this. For this, you have to check the video on collocation, which I have already made for the advanced learners. Because for all these words, knowing the collocation is also important. Once you have matched the words, you must put them into sentences of your own in order to understand how the word is used. I shall give you one sentence for each, but for your practice, you must make 10, 20, 30, 40 sentences with each word. That becomes a part of your memory of English, and you can use these words whenever you speak or whenever you write. These words may not all be used by you. That means you have a large passive vocabulary because you can understand English. But your active vocabulary, the vocabulary which you use while speaking or writing, is very limited. So the same words keep coming to your mind when you want to speak. Now you need to change that and do practice this so that you perform better. Regularly, if you use these words, your vocabulary would have become better. Your expression and your speaking will be more impressive. Just learning 10 words, 20 words by saying that this will make your English excellent is not good. We should gradually increase our vocabulary. Just one way in which you increase the vocabulary is by looking at the meanings, learning them by heart, and reproducing them in an examination. The examination is important, but it is for life that we require speaking, not for an examination. The examination is only a part of your life to get into something, but later you need to use English, and that is why please watch this vocabulary carefully and practice it as often as you can. In today's video, we have 20 words, 10 here and 10 in another slide, and we have 20 meanings, so that is 40 words. Some of these 40 words are very often used by you, so nothing to worry. Maybe out of these 40 words for the mid-level, 10 or 15 words might be rarely used. You might not be using it, although you know what it means. It's not difficult for you to guess the meaning once you see the word, or once you see the meaning, word and meaning you see, and you can easily match them. But that is not the exercise here. The exercise here is that you know how to use this word when you have an independent conversation, or when you're making a presentation in English, or when you're writing something in English. Are you able to think of this word without referring to any dictionary or without thinking for a long time? Remember that if you think and speak, there is hesitation. So you have to speak immediately. Now look at the words. The words are posture, huge, garment, dense, sturdy, veritable, tremor, specific, comprehensive, and simile. Now the meanings are not the same. The meanings are jumbled in this. In the next slide, you will get the correct word with the correct meaning. So here there is a jumble. Now you have posture, you have thick. Thick is not the meaning of posture. Something else is the meaning. You have to find it. So as you are watching this slide, you must start thinking which word matches with which. Then you have strong, massive, shiver, comparison, particular. Then here there are two, actual and real. Both of them are the meanings of one word in the column to the left. Complete, clothes, and stance. These are the meanings which are given. Now, first, what you have to do is think how many of these you use regularly. Thick, you use regularly, I'm sure. Strong, you use regularly, I'm sure. Clothes, you use regularly. Real, you use regularly. Particular, also, you must be using quite often. Complete, we use very often. But what about the others? Maybe in the other column, you might use huge. Also, many people might be using. Now, other words, are you using them often? Are you not using them at all? If these are new to you, then how will you learn the vocabulary? The word, first learn its meaning. But learning the meaning by heart is no guarantee that you can use it while speaking. To use it while speaking, you have to make many attempts, and that attempt is sentences. Wherever you get a chance, use these words instead of the words which come to your mind. Suppose you have a word like good. The word good comes everywhere. We like to use it because it's such a common word. You say, how's this book? You say good. You can easily say interesting, or you can say readable. These are words you could have used. If somebody says, how's the food? Then you say good. You could have said delicious, or you could have said palatable. Now, these are all words which are not used. Whenever a question is asked, the answer is given as good, or as nice, or as amazing. This, wonderful. These are common words which we are using. But can we not have a better word for it? That is why we learn vocabulary, to improve our expression. Here are the words which are matched with their meanings now. So you have posture. Posture is how you hold your body. Suppose you stand straight, that is a posture. Suppose you stand with one leg crossed over the other, that is your posture. Suppose you bend your back, that is also a posture. So the meaning is stance. You might use these words or you may not. Maybe posture is easier for you than stance, but I have given stance as the meaning. So you have to use both these words in sentences. Make 20 sentences when you see. You say that an erect posture shows confidence. That you can say. Or you say that you must change your stance when you are talking about this. There, stance doesn't mean posture. Stance means your attitude. So you can see how a different meaning is also possible. Where you say you must have an erect posture to show confidence, you can use stance also. But in certain cases, you can't use. So you have to be careful. And that is why I have given you only 20 words. Because if you can learn these 20 words in the next few days, till I give you another vocabulary exercise, then your vocabulary becomes better. If you watch these, all the videos which I'm uploading on this channel, you will find that many of these words might be used there. That is a context. Now you can also use each of these words to make an entire incident about what is happening around you. Posture, for instance. Go around today looking on the road and seeing how people's posture is. Then come back in the evening and write about posture. You say that you found an old person whose posture was slightly bent. Then you had another person whose, whose posture was as though he was very worried. His mental worry was shown in his posture. You met a person who was sitting on a chair, but his or her posture was not right. Another person was there whose posture was very impressive. In this way, you can go on talking about it till the word posture becomes a part of your mind, and next time you have to use it, it comes immediately to mind. You don't have to think about it. Then you have huge. Huge is very big in size. Massive also very big in size. You might be using huge and not massive, but you have to make use of both of them. Please see that you learn both and you use them both. Then you have garment, that is clothes. You have, variety of different varieties of clothes. Then that is a garment. Your shirts and your trousers, dresses and blouses and skirts, all these are garments. Dense. Dense is thick. Now, thick has another meaning also. Always dense might not be thick. Dense can be where you see smoke or, where you see clouds. So that becomes dense. Sometimes the word dense is also used for a person who's not able to understand easily. So you say the mind, in the context of the mind, which is dull, as dense. So English is a very rich language. I'm sure you have similar things in your mother tongue also, that one word has more than one meaning, more than one context. We have to know all of them. Then sturdy. Sturdy is strong. You see how just by adding a single letter R, we have changed the word from study to sturdy. This word sturdy means strong. So strong you might be using very often. Sturdy you might not use. Sturdy we use in case of, furniture. We say that this table is very sturdy, or you use it in the context of various things which you find which are very strong. The piece of wood, you say, is very sturdy. A person who's very well built, you say, is sturdy. This way we can use it. Strong can be used, also in terms of strong coffee, weak coffee, all those things. So the words have many meanings. It is for you to know how to use them. Then you have veritable, maybe never used. It's a big word. Many people don't use it. Veritable means actual or real. You must be actual and real, we use very often. Sometimes when you want a formal vocabulary, when you want a vocabulary where you're talking to people whose English is very good and they expect you to use a word which is a little complex, then you can use veritable. You can say that this is a veritable treasure. You find something which is very beautiful, then you say it is a veritable treasure. What you are talking is in a formal context, not simple conversation or informal context. Then you have the word tremor. Tremor and shiver, I'm sure you use commonly, not very difficult. To shake. Tremor is to shake, and shiver also is to shake, to move like that. Uncontrolled movement. That is what it is. Then specific and particular also may be common. You might be using it. If you have a problem, then of course you must practice. Suppose a word is difficult, practice it more. That is, use it in more context. Specific, pointing out to one thing, and particular also pointing out to one thing. Particular also means your attitude, that you're very choosy, that what kind of a food you eat, what kind of clothes you wear, what kind of job you take, then it becomes particular with another meaning, not specific. Comprehensive. Now we will do many exercises in comprehension. That means understanding. But comprehensive means complete. Somebody has asked you about something. They say, describe your office. So you give a description which covers everything. You give a complete description. Then the person says, you have given a comprehensive description of your office room. You did not leave out anything. You spoke about all the decor, you spoke about all the furniture, you spoke about all the technology which is there in your room, all the implements which are there. So then it comprehensive. Then you have simile. Simile is comparison. You compare one thing to another thing. You say that, you know, this is as cold as a morgue. Now, a morgue is a place where you keep dead bodies. So if you say it's as cold, then it is very cold because that is how it is. And you know, the person who dies also, the body becomes very cold. Then that is a comparison, that is a simile. Simile is a figure of speech. Like we are learning parts of speech, we shall also learn figures of speech. There I will tell you much more. It will also be interesting to the literature students and to the students of language. So today, whenever you see any comparison, you immediately put it as a simile. You can use the word simile there. This slide and the next slide will tell you some uses of the words which we have seen. Since we saw 10 words with 10 meanings, we need 20 sentences. And veritable had 2 meanings, so we have to have 21 sentences. Now I'm giving you only 21, but it's up to you to frame more sentences using these words till the words become a part of your active vocabulary. You can immediately think of it whenever you need to use it. You need to stand in an erect posture, stance. The man changed his stance and stood with his feet on the floor. There is a huge snake in the garden. The snake is under a massive tree. Now, huge and massive, both big size. Posture and stance, both how you are holding your body. We visited a garment factory, you know, garments where the clothes are being manufactured. Do you buy clothes for the entire family? Now, usually festivals and all, we buy clothes. So, do you buy for everybody or does everybody buy for themselves? This is a dense forest. Dense is very thick. You know, forest where there is grass and there are bushes, there are huge trees. You can't see anything. So you say dense forest. A thick blanket of fog covered the whole area. You can also say dense fog. Thick, we are not saying thick alone, we are saying thick blanket. But when you want to use dense, then thick blanket, both work can be done by dense. You say a dense fog covered the whole area. So you can see how in some places they are exchangeable. The athlete needs sturdy arms and legs to compete internationally. Strong, sturdy, well built, full of muscles. That is what the meaning is. We must remain strong even when we face difficulties. Now, here, strong is about the mental state, not the physical state. Sturdy is never used in the mind, whereas you can say strong for sturdy. The athlete needs strong arm and legs to compete internationally. You can see that sometimes they can be interchanged, some other times we have to keep to the word as it is. This distinction, if you learn, then your vocabulary is good. Here you can see the rest of the words from the first group of words I gave you. Veritable. There was a veritable crowd of unemployed youth. You can say that there was a really big crowd, you know, really, how to say that it is, you know, very, very stressed, real. A real where you are putting a lot of emphasis, then it becomes veritable. Here is the actual fact sheet for the case. So here you can't use veritable, you have to use actual. Or you can use real also, a real fact sheet you can say. We need some real incidents for this class. Here again you can say you can't use actual, you can't use veritable, you have to use real. So all the three contexts show you different ways in which they are used. You can talk about, this is a veritable treasure, as I already told you. Veritable is not used as commonly as real is used or actual is used. So you have to use it carefully. We try to avoid using difficult words unless the context demands it. If a context demands the word veritable, only then you would use it. You know, this is a veritable storehouse of good books. Now, if you say that, then you are emphasizing on the real aspect. This is a great storehouse. It has too many books. And, this is a veritable library of excellent reading. Now, here you have excellent reading. In that way, where you want to say that it is something very real and very impressive, there you use veritable. Tremor. The earthquake caused a tremor in this area. This we read all the time in the newspaper or read in the news, because wherever there is an earthquake, the word tremor is used. But you can also use the word tremor by saying that people were using the drilling machine next door and there was a tremor we could feel in our house also. Somebody was digging a well and there was a tremor in that locality. All these ways the word tremor can be used. Without a coat, you will shiver in the cold. When the tremor is for the body, then the preferred word is shiver. We use tremor for earth, etc., but shiver we use when we are talking in terms of the human body or the animals who are alive, so that capability of uncontrolled movement, you have movement like that. So when you go to speak, then your hands might be shivering, your lips might be shivering, so because you get nervous, that is why when you start doing it, these things happen. Specific. These are the specific measurements you need. So you're making something, you need measurement. So you'd say specific, exact, correct. This is what you require. Are you looking for a particular place? Now, maybe you're looking for a place for an office or for putting your furniture, or you're looking for a place to buy a house. Any place is possible. So this is particular. Particular means only one which you want. Comprehensive. His answer was comprehensive enough for the interviewer. So interviewer asked a question. The candidate gave an answer which covered all the points. So the interviewer was happy. Comprehensive. The complete program is listed below. Simple. As black as coal is a simile. Now, what is it? Something you're saying. What is the color of your dress? You say it is as black as coal. How is the night? The night is as black as coal. So you are making a comparison. It is not good to insult someone by making an unfair comparison. So you say something bad, you make a comparison of a person by saying, you are a donkey. So that is a comparison, you are thinking like a donkey. Then you are insulting that person by calling a donkey. Of course, we should not use animal comparisons, because animals might have more intelligence sometimes than we have. We think as humans we are the best, but that might not be really true. The first 10 words and their meanings I did in great detail. Now let us go quickly. You have the words agog, stuffed, timber, grave, profession, humorous, expedition, gaze, gloom, and endeavor. These are all the 10 words. Please check whether you know these words, whether they are familiar with you, or can you guess by looking at them what their meaning could be. Matching the words with their meaning is very easy because if you're left with one or two, then you can guess and put. If you know the meaning of 8 words, then the other two might not really matter so much. You can guess them. But if you don't know any of the meanings, then the exercise becomes difficult. The meanings are serious, job, outing, funny, darkness, would, stare, filled, attempt, and excited. These are the meanings. Now, if you don't know the meanings, the next slide will give you the meaning. If you don't know how to use them, the following 2 slides will give you one sentence usage. But as I told you, please use more often in order to learn vocabulary. Vocabulary cannot be learned by this half an hour's video. The more you practice based on this half an hour's video, you might have to practice for 2-3 hours or maybe 10 hours, 20 hours, depending on the level of your vocabulary. Agog, which you might not use very often, is excited, which you might use very often. Stuffed is filled. Remember once I told you about taxidermy in one of the videos. Stuffed animals, animal skin is taken and it is stuffed. Filled. Timber is wood. Grave, serious. Profession, job. Humorous, funny. Expedition, outing. Gaze, stare. Stare you might use. Gaze you might use less. Stare is sometimes a little rude, whereas gaze is just looking with concentration. Gloom and darkness. Darkness you use very often. Gloom is not only physical darkness, but it is also a mind feeling in the mind that you have some depression, you have some negative thoughts, sad thoughts. Endeavor is attempt. So these are the meanings of the words, which you can easily see from the slide which is there in front of you. Now comes the difficult part, and that is the usage. By looking at the word and the meaning, you should be able to make as many sentences as possible. If a word is more difficult, make more sentences with it. If a word you use very often, don't make any sentences with it, because that word is already in your active vocabulary. You need not practice it. But where the word, you can guess the meaning of the word, but you can't use it, please try to use as much as possible. These are the last 2 slides where we have sentences with the words which we saw in the second exercise of the vocabulary. Agog, as I told you, is excited, wondering, wanting to know what is going to happen. The audience was all agog for the end of the film. They wanted to know what is the suspense, what is the solution for this, situation which has developed in the movie. We are excited about the new job. Suppose you get a new job, you will feel excited. There, you can say we were all agog to know about our position or our work in this new job. The shop sold many stuffed toys. Children use it. You have velvet covering outside, you have elephants, you have bears, you have rabbits. They love playing with that. So that is a stuffed toy. The room is filled with old machinery. It might be the storeroom. So old machinery is kept in the factory in one room. Timber. The furniture store ordered good timber from us. Many people are there who do business in selling logs of wood. Wood in big pieces cut from trees. That is timber. These chairs are made of wood. Now, we don't use timber unless it is in the raw form, then we say wood. The matter under discussion is very grave. Grave here is serious. You can also replace it by serious. Grave has many other meanings, but we are using it here as serious. The officer took serious action against the latecomers. Now, here we cannot use grave. You cannot say the officer took grave action against the latecomers. That is why I told you that collocation, learning collocation, is very important. You will get an introduction to collocation if you look at the two videos which I have uploaded. But if you need more, there is always the dictionary of collocation, which gives you all these uses, how they are used. Then you have profession. Which is the profession you like best? Now, suppose you have 3, 4 choices. So which would you choose? So profession is what you want to do with your career. What is it you want to do your work in for the rest of your life? My job here will be over in a few months' time. So job is a work. You can't use profession here because if your profession is over, that means you have no way of earning your livelihood. How will you earn? How will you eat? Therefore, job and profession meaning but difference in usage. Where they collocate and where they don't, you have to know. Otherwise, you will misuse them. Here are the remaining words. The usage of this will bring to an end this video. But where the video ends, your work begins. You have to start using whatever words were very difficult for you many times so that they are available to you when you speak or when you write. You don't have to think of those words again. You don't have to go to the dictionary or you don't have to come back to a vocabulary video to find out what that word was. Humorous is, something which makes you smile or laugh. His stories are always very humorous. Jokes are humorous. The clown was behaving in a funny manner. The clown, the person who does some, activities which make you laugh. The clown is usually a part of a circus. These days, you don't have many circuses. But when we were growing up, maybe 50 years back, at that time, that was a very common way of entertainment for children, and that was a circus visiting your city. Expedition. This expedition is going to South America. South America is very beautiful. People go for expedition there. Many people go for expedition to different parts of the world. Antarctica, for instance, many expeditions. You can read about these and you can write about them using the word expedition again and again so that it becomes easy for you. Then you have outing. Outing is a small thing. Expedition is huge, but outing is small. The family planned an outing for the weekend. At night, many people like to gaze at the stars, gaze at to look carefully, look admiringly, stare. It is rude to stare at a stranger. Stare is just to look. And then, sometimes, as I told you, it is rude. After hearing this sad news, a pall of gloom descended on everyone. Gloom here is a mental state, not darkness of the physical atmosphere, but darkness of the mind. The darkness you see now is because there is a solar eclipse. Recently, we had a solar eclipse. In parts of the world where it was seen, it must have been very dark. Let us endeavor to do our best. Let us try to do our best. I attempt anything that poses a challenge. That is the best way to grow. When you take up a challenge, I attempt. I might not succeed, I might fail, but I attempt, I try out. I endeavor to do anything which is challenging. You can replace. Let us attempt to do our best. You can replace. So in both sentences, both words work. In this way, you have seen that we have taken up 20 words, of which some are familiar to you, some are not. Their meanings are also given. The meanings may be familiar to you, all of them, or some of them might not be. You can also check out their spellings because I'm giving you the text in front of your eyes. That is the better way of teaching than my speaking only, because there you don't have a text to follow. But those of you who are enjoying the speaking videos, I will do only without slides. I'll do many of those and many of these. But please remember, the final thing is for you to practice. Unless you practice, you do not get any benefit. You listen to the video, you watch the video, and you look at the slides. That is a partial improvement. Total improvement requires your involvement, full concentration on improving yourself. So please do this. Vocabulary is very important for improving the level of your speaking, the level of your writing. It is because of vocabulary many of you struggle to speak and write. Thank you and all the best.